What's up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alexis. I'm a work from home mom of three, and we recently just bought our dream property in sunny Southern California. So we do sit on right over just an acre, and our gardening zone is 9B. Today, I'm going to be taking you on a tour from the very beginning all the way to the end of our fence line. And so I'm super excited about this for two reasons. One, I absolutely wanted to document our journey from start to finish with so many things going on and so many transformations happening, starting with the build of our pool. Second, I'm a firm believer that when you actually talk aloud your plans and the things that you want to do, um, you are more creative, and then you're able to basically solidify all the things that you have planned. And so sometimes as I'm walking around on my property, my plans often change. So for me, it's really good to speak it, talk about it multiple times before making any final decisions. So without further ado, we are going to start at the very beginning and work our way all the way to the back of the property. Let's go. We'll be going through each area, and I'm going to tell you what's currently existing in the space if I can identify it, and then what my future plans are for this space at the moment. So here we are in the front yard. We are pretty close to the fence line, and this is the first area that I would consider my gardening space. So as you can see, already existing are cactus and some California king palms. And so there is another type of tree in the corner, and there's also some olive trees. Once I turn the camera around, you will get a shot of those. And then there's also a beautiful crepe myrtle that we have right at the entrance of the fence. Now, the challenge in this space currently is getting water to everything. So I was able to identify some existing irrigation. However, we have some problems with it. So when we turned it on, it did appear to be a leak. So I believe that's why the previous owners were not using it. We did have a couple irrigation specialists come out and give us some quotes, and you guys, it was kind of steep. So right now, because I do want to get some water out here, I mean, I go back and forth between, do I want to start here in the front because this is what people see when they are coming through our neighborhood and our cul-de-sac, or do I really want to focus on the back, which is my quote unquote true gardening space and area. So for now, it's just the king palms. I would love to plant up this space with maybe some agapanthus, maybe some type of hedge, maybe a privet or a boxwood with white iceberg roses, maybe some rosemary that I already have here on the property. The goal for this space is simplicity and ease. So anything that I put out here in the front, I want it to be easy for me to maintain. And then if we turn over here, you can see that pretty little crepe myrtle that is growing, but it's probably not in the best of conditions because, again, the water has been shut off. But my plan is to plant another crepe myrtle on the left side and obviously get some water on it. And so as you're driving into the property, you are going to be greeted with these beautiful crepe myrtles that should create almost like an arch at the beginning of the driveway. I also had some rough plans to plant in front of the fence. However, I am not sure at this time if that is actually considered our property. I think our property line actually starts at the fence based on what I see my neighbors doing. I do have a couple neighbors that have some things planted in front of that fence, but just to be on the safe side, I will probably leave it alone for now. Yes, good girl, stay. So this was one of the, hey, Millie, Miss Millie's gonna go inside really quick before she gets into some trouble. The king palms sit in front of this open space. I would say this right here is probably right under a little bit of a quarter of an acre in the front flat section. And at this time, all you see here are weeds. And our plan really is just to keep it open so that we have the flexibility to add things to it later. We have toyed with the idea of possibly an ADU in the future, but we just kind of want to leave it alone for now so that when it is time to make a decision on what to do, we have the flexibility and the open space to do it. Our kids do come out here and, well, they used to, before my husband built this beautiful turf area. They would come out here and they would do workouts. They would use it kind of like a basketball court, and they would do laps and sprints and all the things. So, having this open space really just gives us a lot of flexibility to do things that, you know, whatever we want to do in the front. So let's go ahead and take a look at the waterfall feature. So this water fountain was one of the things that actually drew me to this property. I've always wanted a water fountain. At my old property, I had a little bird bath type thing, and then I just ordered one of those things off Amazon. I actually put it in here. So one of these. And I actually loved it. It was great. It got the job done. But I wanted one that was actually connected to the water lines. And so we do have it here. However, again, it is not in working condition. So it has been challenging trying to find um, companies that specialize in water fountains, because what I have found is that most of the companies I've called for irrigation, they don't necessarily service waterfalls. So I'm probably going to have to find someone specific to address this. But I really just want to kind of take a look around the actual waterfall and what my plans are for this space. So currently, we've got some rock, we've got some weeds, and that's pretty much it. We do have some aeonium growing up here, and I think it's called a foxglove agave. I think so. And so all of this is going to be coming out. Fountain grass that I already have existing, some sweet alyssum kind of trailing in the front. And then again, I would like to incorporate some of those succulents that I already have on the property. And so I think it makes I think it makes great sense to have the purple fountain grass in front of the fountain. I think it's gonna look great. I want it to look again clean, but I also wanted to have that wow factor. And so I've also toyed with the idea of maybe just doing a ton of um, yellow, what's it called? Gosh darn it, what's the name of that plant? Lantana, yellow lantana, because it's easy. I know I can, probably get it as a ground cover and just fill it in, and it'll completely take over, and it will give it the same wow factor as, um, the fountain grass, or doing a combination of both. So let me know what you think would actually look good in this section. As you can see, there's a crack, and then even in the middle, not sure what they were doing, but they actually sealed it off in this part right here. So they put a rock on it and it's sealed. So there's no water coming in or out. And yeah, this is being added to the to-do list. You guys, the list is long. The list is long. So one step at a time, one plant at a time, and eventually we will start making some traction. So now we are actually going to be going down a little bit closer to the front of our house. And we're going to take a look at what we have here. This area right here is exactly what it looks like. It is a ditch. And in this ditch, there is drainage running through, and it does run through every property on our block. So when we decided to purchase this home, the ditch was kind of a thing for us. Well, at least, I mean, for me. So I can't really speak for my husband, but I know I went back and forth between, do I like it? Do I not? Is it weird? I will definitely say it's not something that you see every day. However, we have learned since being here, we do have some options when it comes to this ditch. So here are the ideas that we have been playing around with. Well, first, let me tell you what's currently existing in there. Um, there are king palm stumps. There are a lot of different trees in there. I've seen some calla lilies in there. And so I haven't gone down there myself. My husband has, and my kids sometimes will go down there to play. And honestly, the more time I spend outside, the more I learn to love it because like I said, it is a place where my kids can come together. They will ride their bikes down there sometimes. They will climb ropes down there. But anyways, the part that I'm excited about is the fact that we can fill the ditch with permits. So the right way. So I am super excited about that because it will give us the flexibility to actually extend our front yard. And you will see that when we head closer to the front of the house. Dirt. You just go in and you just keep adding dirt. I've also played with the idea of doing some type of bridge, which I think would make it very whimsical and magical. Um, so really right now, the ditch is going to be just that, a ditch. We are not planting in it. We are not filling any dirt in it at this time. It is just going to be a big hole for drainage. Little side note, I do know that we have had several snakes at our site over the course of the summer. So, um, sometimes I'm a little leery about the kids playing down there, but honestly, they are learning to just kind of be on the lookout for things, to be listening for things, and just to not be picking anything up off the ground. So, for the most part, I do feel pretty safe with them playing down there without getting into too much trouble. So now we are going to be headed over to the front yard of the house where you typically in like a tract home would be like your front lawn area. So let's go take a look at what we currently have there and what the plans are for that section. So this section here is technically still like I would say considered the ditch, but it does sit in the front of what we would consider our grass area. So we do have this beautiful, very overgrown rosemary bush. I love this bush. I just don't necessarily like it here. I would love to move it probably somewhere in the front part along that fence line like we discussed, or somewhere in the back. There's also some type of grass, very tall grass and large grass. I've seen how big it can get at some of my neighbors' homes, and it gets huge. So I also want to use this in other parts of the landscape. There are again more, I think it's tiger agave, some aeonium. It's a lot of different succulents along here. But our plans are to actually remove all of this, rehome these plants, and then extend our lawn because this is the beginning of the ditch. And this is kind of where we talked about extending it to create more of like a traditional grass area. As we venture over into the next section, I'm hoping that you guys are mindful that our space is lived in. We do have small children, so our space is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. There is stuff. There are scooters, there are bikes, there are basketballs, and just all the things. So, yes, the space is lived in. And let's go ahead and take a look at what we currently have here. So, this is the front yard grass area. We would love to put some actual like sod in this area. Along here, my plan is to have some type of tall type of like bush, not an arborvitae, but something similar, maybe a privet, something that we can kind of keep neat. And then I do want to add some type of like boxwood, I think a boxwood hedge along this section here with, again, those iceberg roses to make for a very clean look. This will be grass, so the only flowers that I will probably have are in this section back here. So here, and then over here, and then on the left side in front of that window. So I do want to show you my favorite part of the front. This has been such a hidden gem. So when we moved in here, we didn't know what type of vine this was, and we kind of just let it be. We haven't watered it or anything. And I would say, like a couple weeks ago, my husband had said, "Hey, did you notice the pink blooms on this thing, on this vine?" And so I hadn't. I came out the next day, and lo and behold, there were pink little blooms on here, and they are very reminiscent of like a bougainvillea, but the flowers appear to be like much softer, the best way that I can describe it, and they're not as big. And so I did put it into my plant identifier, and it said it was some type of, I want to say like Mexican wreath vine. And it's beautiful. Like, look at this. The only negative thing is that it is actually on our house. And so I'm not the biggest fan of that. Um, I did research that it could be quite invasive where we live. And so the plan is to let it grow until we are ready to move it. I already have a home for it. I know exactly where it's going to be going, but for now it is comfortable here. It is thriving. I do think with a little bit more water, it probably would produce some more of these really pretty pink blooms. Let me bring it a little bit closer. Let's see. Look at those. It's good for now, but we will eventually be moving it. And that will lead us over into the next section that we're going to be taking a look. Okay, so this is pretty much where the gardening magic is really going to start. So when I say garden magic, I mean this is where we're getting into my designated garden areas where my plan is to make like garden rooms. So as you come into the backyard space, it's like you're almost going to be in different backyard within the same backyard, if that makes sense. So it's going to start here. I don't know if you can really see, but I have already outlined where the walkway is going to go. And so my plan for this space is to create or to have my husband build a pergola. I'm not going to be creating anything. Currently, it's just dirt. It is weeds. But this is our segue into the backyard. So I would love for this space to be very magical. I would love for it to be another wow factor space. So right now there's also some type of like fig tree there. I don't think it's like the kind that you can eat, but it is there. One thing to note is that our septic system does sit in the front, and our leach lines actually run through over here, which is going to kind of force us to remove this tree right here. Moved because when we got our C42 diagram done, it was recommended to have the tree removed because it could potentially cause some problems and interfere with the leach lines. So all of these plants were already here existing on the property. However, they were in the space that the pool is going to be built. So excavation is going to be starting very soon. So I feel like I've pretty much been racing against them and trying to get as much out as I can to preserve it. Because when the pool company comes, they are basically going to take everything up and they're going to be tossing it. So I have just been coming out here and taking stuff out. There was, let's see, geranium, the foxglove agaves, some aloe vera. Um, there were some grasses that I have found just like randomly. Like this is, I love these grasses. These are one of my favorite grasses. So all of this is going to be incorporated into this side. If you move over here, you're going to see some rocks and a lot of those ice plants. And then I was able to save one of these um, variegated agave plants. These are huge. It was a little struggle to get it up, but I did get it up. And my plan is to put one over on this side and then to put one kind of parallel on the other side. So my vision is like a pergola with maybe like 3 posts on each side, something that's still going to allow for like some dapple sun, because they are succulent, so they do need some sun. But I did do my cross reference, and they can totally thrive over here in this space, even with the pergola. Um, and then on this side, I would love to add some terracotta pots with some iceberg roses, maybe this geranium. And really, I just want, I want the entire property to kind of be connected. So, I would love to add some plants that I have in the front into this section here. So not everything, but just little sprinkles so that as you're coming through the property, you feel the connection. It's not just random. Everything is tied together. So this is probably going to be the space that I focus on next because I have already taken out plants and I need to actually get them into the ground. Um, but there is a lot of work that actually needs to be done because we don't have irrigation here yet. So I think first things first is to get the water going because I do see sprinklers here, and then actually getting the plants in the ground. So now we're going to take a look at the backyard, and I'm going to be showing you the different gardening rooms that I'm hoping to create. Over here is going to actually be my kids designated gardening area. I like it because it does sit closer to like the actual house. So it's a space where they can come out and they will be able to do whatever they want to do in their garden space. So this raised bed was really for them. I did help them pot it up, but this is kind of like the start to their gardening space. So whatever they want to plant here, they are free to do so. To the backyard space where I'm standing, it's actually where the pool is going to be installed. We are getting a 15 by 30 in-ground shotcrete pool. So we are super excited about this transformation that is underway. But as you can see right now, we have tons of plants here that are going to be excavated. So like I said, I've been trying to come out and take out as many as I can to preserve them, but we're going to be breaking ground really soon. So yeah, super exciting. Behind me, we have tons of different fruit trees. We've got orange tree, we've got mango trees, we have Mexican apple tree. And so my plan is actually to move all of the trees to create my orchard along the backside of the fence. So we do actually have some mangoes that are producing on the mango trees, which is super cool. They honestly can be in better shape. So again, I don't know if there was active water running out there. I'm assuming so because they are growing. But I think once the pool is done, we will be able to have a better idea of what exactly needs to be done for the trees and just all the other plants that are back here. So for the trees, everything will be moved to the back. Maybe not this big guy back here because that mango tree is pretty well established and I don't know about moving that. But this small guy right here will be moved to the back. And then we actually have our contractor who will be actually taking this one. So, and he's also giving us some other stuff. So we're kind of doing like some swaps. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the back side where I'm going to be showing you my kitchen garden and my cottage garden. Currently in this space, there are whatever these plants are. I don't know. If you guys know the name of any of these plants, let me know. I'm only in like my third season of gardening, so I would still consider myself pretty much a newbie. I am an educator by trade, so I'm a firm believer that learning never stops. So any of these plants that you see, if you know them, drop the name in the comment section so I can become educated. This beautiful green trunk tree, I don't know the name of it. It has these yellow flowers that I think they come like in spring because when we actually looked at the house, they were in full bloom. There is a pine tree back there, and there are some what are they called? Some aloe vera. So, plans for this space right now, we probably will be removing the little pin thing that they had going. I think they had some animals here. Um, we did toy with the idea of maybe making this the chicken coop, but I think ultimately we concluded that we're going to be removing it, and this is going to be a designated garden area for me, which I'm super excited about. So this is going to be my kitchen garden. I would love to have vegetables, fruits, just all the things, a lot of salvia, a lot of rosemary, a lot of lavender. So this is going to be the garden where I can actually come out and I can pick things and I can actually use them in the kitchen. Tomatoes, my kids' favorite fruits and vegetables, is the goal for this section. So definitely not looking to be like self-sustainable at this point, but I think this is a great place to start. And so yeah, this is going to be the kitchen garden. It's going to go all the way, all the way, all the way over here. Maybe develop a greenhouse for this section. So right now, my husband uses this as the kids' workout area. So they run this hill a couple times a week, and it's pretty cool. But eventually, I would love to have this be an actual greenhouse where I can grow some of these plants year round. Right now, there is this beautiful shade tree, and then right behind it, there is another beautiful pepper tree. And I love both trees because it provides tons of shade. And so, plans for here is to not remove anything, but simply to add. I want to really make this section like the cottage garden. So these are going to be like California natives and anything that I want, which is pretty much the whole concept of a cottage garden. There are no rules. You're just kind of throwing things in there that you like. So I have a decent amount of space to work with. And really it's just about getting it cleaned up and getting some things into the ground. I would love to have more chickens. The kids have already been asking, and I just think it's almost like a natural progression. So we haven't had chickens since we were at our last home, and we had to resell them because we did not move directly from our former home to the new home. So we didn't have anywhere to house the chickens. So now we're kind of in a space where we're thinking about, do we get more, do we not? And honestly, you guys, I'm kind of torn because it really depends on what our plans are for this property. We have a couple different ideas that we have been really entertaining, and I like all of them, and some of them unfortunately don't include the chickens. What you guys think? Should we do the chickens? Should we not do the chickens? Honestly, sometimes it just feels like a lot being a work from home mom, being a homeschooling mom. It just seems like one more thing to add to my to-do list. That's where we are with the chickens. So if we do get them, they would probably go somewhere, you know, in the cottage garden, but not in it, because if you have chickens, you know that chickens and flowers, they just don't really go together. So while they will be alongside the cottage garden, they will not actually have access to the cottage garden. So this is a potential area for them. And then the last section of our property is right down here. It's another ditch. This section here, I know it's a little hard to see, but it's another ditch area. And originally we had planned to, well, I had planned to make this the pool area. Why? Because I didn't want this space to go to waste. And I knew if we didn't put the pool here, it would kind of just become like dead space. You can see behind me, we have a very, very overgrown California king palm that honestly, it either needs to be removed or we're going to have to get somebody in here to trim it. But to trim the tree is way more than to actually remove the tree, because to trim the tree requires a lot more work. So that's where I'm at with that. Right now it's just going to sit there, and then we have actually branches from our neighbor's yard coming into our yard. So because we have decided not to make this a designated pool area, because we learned that it would cost like double the cost to do it down here, because we would have to do retaining walls and it just wasn't the most ideal spot to do it. I maybe thought about doing a chicken coop down here. So then that way it is still in the backyard, but it's not necessarily like in the backyard. So with the things that we are considering to be doing here, I think it would be better for the chickens to kind of be out of sight. But we would still have access to them. So that is a possibility. For now, it is just going to be this. We will probably be fencing it off after the pool is installed. Um, so yeah, that's really it. That is a tour of the full property. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please bear with me as I get my recording and YouTube bearings. This is all new for me. I hope that the tour was insightful. And if you are, interested in our backyard transformation journey, our pool journey, be sure to hit the subscribe button. We would love to have you here. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys in the next video.